So before we continue, what we're going to do is jack up the car, see if we can get the drive shaft in and set up from there back. All right, let's pull out our drive shaft. Drive shaft. All right, so first things first, we've got to get our transmission back in our power plant frame. It's probably best to attack this from the other side. Okay. Wow, that went in surprisingly easy. And we just thread our really large bolts. Alright, then we want to crank on that. It's a size 17. We'll leave it a little loose until we can get the other ones in there too. And then there's one more smaller bolt just at the back. Okay, now we've got the power plant frame in place. We want to hook up all of our transmission sensors. So we should have 1, 2, 3 different sensors in the rear, and they should go into this harness. So one connects really easily just right here where the plug is, and then there'll be 2 that you have to swing around the other side of the transmission. You want to make sure that you swing them around the other side of the transmission so that the exhaust doesn't get the cables hot and you don't mess them up. So now at this point there is a small little hook that goes into a bolt on the transmission to hold the wire up so it doesn't sag too much. And you just connect that, I think it's a 10 mil. Now let's get our drive shaft in. Okay, now for getting the drive shaft in, you want to grab it by the front end and by the back, and it should slide right into your transmission. Yep. And then we made it up with the rear end.
Swing.
And then we get our bolts in. They should be all 14s. I'm gonna attack it from the other side. For this, you may want to lift your rear end so that you can get your bolt holes lined up with the drive shaft and the rear end. If you can see there, mine is not lined up at all. Okay, so now that I've got the transmission in neutral, I can spin the drive shaft to line up with our bolt holes. But since I don't have access to all of the bolt holes, I'm gonna put a few in, and then I have to lift up the back end, rotate the wheels to get the diff to spin, so I can access the other 2 holes. Okay, so once you lift up the rear end just enough, you can release the handbrake if you got it up, and then you can start to spin everything to get your nuts and bolts in there. All right, then you can put it in gear and really get these torqued down. All right, you can come back at it with a wrench to help the rotation. All right, I think that's tight enough.